Hey guys, Mike here with Tropicons. It's Monday, May 22nd. Forgive my voice. I've got the worst allergies. It's been raining almost non-stop, at least in my area up here in the Pyrenees. And I think my allergy against mold spores is really kicking in. Anyway, bear with me. It's going to be a short one. I just want to give you guys a quick update on what's going on in the crypto market and of course also with cryptanalysis. So if you checked your channel this morning, right? We have a Bitcoin channel and we have an Ethereum channel right here. Okay, so here's Bitcoin, and you can tell that Gravitas is now short, right? It took profits a few days ago. I think it was Friday. You see here, it was still long. Here on the 20th, it basically exited, and it had a return of 32%, $6,580. Not bad, right? And it's a little bit in the plus today. We're going to see what's happening here. One reason why I'm making this video is because, Ethereum is still long. And I'm sure many of you guys probably wonder, what the hell, right? Why is one short, why is one long? Well, because they don't run necessarily in sync with each other. And that's a good thing, because it's kind of like one is the control for the other. And we're kind of averaging out between the two. And that's exactly what you want. Really get a good feeling of what the trend is. So I'm going to address that right now and kind of show you what's what. So if you're looking at the signal, and again, the Kalman, right? Again, it looks very simple, but it's not. This is a Kalman, and it performs very, very differently and moves very, very differently from a regular moving average. I just choose to paint it this way, right? And you can see that it crossed over. I can zoom in a little bit here. Okay, but dragging this over here. So here we go. And you can tell that kind of barely crossed over these two. Why? Because there was weakness, right? And it's look at these moves here, right? An EMA will probably have crossed over here already and might have crossed over back and forth a few times. And the comments were looking at this for a while and saying, yeah, let's wait what happens, right? But there was continued weakness, and there's a trend towards the downside, which I kind of predicted, like, what was that, 2 weeks ago or so, my last update on this. But I said, we might see a retest of the 25K level, which would be quite natural, right? In terms of price action after the first hooray to the upside. And that's, I think, I still maintain that's probably what we're going to be getting, because I would feel better also, technically speaking, if we're getting a retest here. I know that's probably not something you guys want to hear. Most of you guys want to hear because you just want to move in one direction, but that's not how the market works, right? For these big moves to the upside to occur, we need to have a stable platform, right? You can jump on a trampoline, but it's a good analogy. You need to have firm ground, to really, you need to have have a solid footing here to really launch, like a launch platform for a rocket. Okay, that's probably a good analogy. And that's kind of what it's doing here. It's building a platform. It's building a base so that price can, move to the upside, that everyone has seen a retest, has seen a rejection of those lower levels here, and then acknowledge that this has been sufficiently tested and that we're moving to the upside. Okay? So, how come Ethereum isn't doing it? Well, simple. Very simple, actually, because it hasn't crossed over yet. And you can see that although, and that's usually what really freaks out the moving averages, right? We've seen a lot more volatility here in comparison with Bitcoin. Let me zoom in so we're getting a kind of a neck and neck comparison here. Well, this is volatile in its own, in its own domain, but I think Ethereum has been a little bit more wild. I mean, this is quite a drop here, right? And then these rapid pushes to the upside. And Kalman looked at it for a while, and it's still not convinced, right? This is holding steady here. And I think as long as this is holding steady, they're not going to cross, which is a good thing, because we could have easily gotten in and out, and chopped. That was actually one of the reasons why she slowed down the signal even a little bit more last year. There was a few questions came up by some of the guys who just subscribed and said, hey, I went back in the feed, right? If we go back here all the way, I don't know how far we have to scroll, but I think in like February or so, we had a different entry, right? If you go back to, I think we have to go back all the way. That's a lot of signals. But I think if you go back to February, you see the signal. And I actually uploaded a loomed for you guys, or was it YouTube? A few, I think 6 weeks back or so, telling you that I would change the signals just a little bit, which pushed the entry a tiny bit down, right? And that's where it is right here, right? And that's actually the only change I ever made to the signal throughout its entire lifetime, which is, I think, almost a year now. And I don't plan on making any more changes to it moving forward. So basically, Ethereum, right? Here's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin got long in around, what is that? Mid-January. And let's see when Ethereum went long. Okay. Ethereum went long a little bit later. I don't have to cross here for some reason. Okay, just take my word for it. I'm going to move my mouse over. Okay, that is 112. Okay, almost the same. Yeah, okay. So mid-January, both of them went long. And so far, Ethereum is still holding long. So what does that mean? Well, if you're still holding long Ethereum, or if you're short Bitcoin, then you're kind of neutral, right? It's more or less market neutral. There's going to be a small delta between the two, but in general, they're moving in some. You're kind of market neutral this way. So there's nothing really wrong with it, right? There's really nothing wrong with it. And we will have these interim periods in which the signal isn't synced between the two. And you should just accept that as part of, trading. We often have that. I mean, if I trade stocks, I often have a short position and I have a long position, or I have a put and I have a call, so on a correlated symbol. Maybe I'm trading them against each other. I mean, there's pair trading, there's basket trading. There's all kinds of ways of how you can hold different types of position at the same time. Nothing unnatural about it, so just relax about it, okay? The other question I came up with is particularly, with the short position here. What can you do? Well, if you don't want to go short in your account, you can also just stay in cash. I mean, that's effectively you're kind of a soft short on Bitcoin then, right? Because if Bitcoin keeps falling, well, you're going to be able to buy it cheaper for dollars later on the line, right? So in a way, you are sort of short, but if you want to take full maximum advantage, you can, short in your crypto account, or if you don't want to do that, you can also, short an ETF in your stockbroker account. That's fine as well, right? There's a bunch of ETFs out there. I don't really recommend a particular one, but do your research and pick whatever you feel comfortable with, right? I don't want to get really drawn into that, because then if I start throwing out symbols, then people are going to ask me about it. And then that's going to become a whole new discussion on its own in regards to which one is better, and more liquidity here and there, and this one didn't perform as well as this one, and why did you recommend this? You can understand that I have to standardize, I have to follow my system here, and that system is based on Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So that's but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever alternative you can find that works for you for a particular account type, go for it. If you want to short it there, or if you just want to hold cash, that's fine too. I mean, in a way, it is like it's kind of a soft short, right? If you stay in cash, because you're buying it cheaper later on the line. So in a way, you didn't make profits, but you saved losses. So that's why I call it a soft short. Okay, and that's kind of all I have in terms of just price action, right? If we're going, let's just kind of jump over here quick here. And if I pop open another window here and go to Trading View, 1 second here. Let me pause real quick and go to Trading View. Okay, here we are. And it's almost uncanny. Remember when I drew these lines in like early March? I mean, it's crazy how well it's following my game plan here. Although it's a lot more messier, right? And admittedly, it's more shallow, right, than what I drew. But that might not stay this way, right? It's quite possible that we're getting a deeper correction down to here, 2,300, 2,400, 23,000. Okay, don't want to scare you. 24,000, maybe 25K. I think it's in the cards, and don't be horrified when that happens. Okay, so when it comes to how deep is it gonna go, we don't know. There's no crystal ball for this, and is there a good possibility that here on the Bitcoin side that we're going to get kind of whipsawed a little bit, that we might burn some profits holding short, and then it's going to flip again when all of a sudden there's a boost? It's not going to happen right away, right? Unless it happens in a short near-term future where the signals are very close to each other. But if it continues to the downside and then we see a big swing up, at some point it might cross over again, of course. And that has happened. I mean, you see these situations. That's, for instance, here, right? Look at the bottom, right? Where we see sell here and then he buys it back here, right? Okay, little profit. but then it buys here and it lost a little bit here. That's actually quite a steep drop. That was kind of the last hooray, right? That was kind of the last hooray on the downside. I mean, this last little wipeout, the toilet flush, as I always call it, you know, and really shook the remaining weak hands out. I don't even know if you should call them weak hands. I mean, if you held this long, then, you know, you probably have brass balls. But anyone, you know, anyone was still holding at 16,000, people got nervous. So, you know, this was the toilet flush. And then if you found a good entry here, of course, that was a prime entry. It's interesting, right? Because here, again, we see it here, we're selling and then we're selling short here and then we're losing. So we have two small losers here, right, that we're getting. Of course, this all makes up for it. But this is what happens. I don't expect it to be this wild again, right? Because, I mean, the high volatility that we've seen over the last few months in terms of the downside seems to have settled. It's more of a like, you see these big moves to the upside, see that? And then it kind of works its way slowly back. That in itself, I should really point this out actually. This is in itself quite bullish because look, I mean, we've seen these long candles, these long pushes. See the gaps here? There's a gap here. Do we have any more gaps? Oh, well, not really, right? I mean, it's a 24x market, but like just based on the price movement, if it wasn't a 20, you know, here's a gap. I don't even know how that happens. I mean, that is fairly rare to see, right, in a 24x market. But anyway, so if this wasn't a 24x market, right, like 24/7, then we probably see with a lot of gapping action here. And then see when it works its way back, there's a lot of volatility, see that? And a lot of overlapping candles. So just based on the price action, it takes a lot of doing to really push prices down. And it's working its way slowly down. So far, all I see is healthy price action. And that's to be expected and really nothing to be super nervous about, right? As I said in my previous video, just kind of scale yourself in, trade what you're comfortable with, let gravitas make your money over time, right? Don't go crazy, don't back up the truck and just, you know, buy 50 Bitcoin and bet it on that one system. Just gonna go slow with it, right? And just kind of, you know, accumulate slowly and let it make you money as you feel more comfortable over time. Now, many of you guys actually bought a lifetime license. Congrats to you. Awesome. And you really enjoy the signal over time. It's really going to exhibit its strength over time when you will invariably find yourself on the right side of the tape, you know, especially during training season, and you're really going to enjoy it. Okay. So that's kind of all I got. You know, it's kind of working its way back as we expected. There's really nothing unusual going on. Forget all the noise that you keep hearing, right, in the news. Now, this is recently what I just heard over the weekend. You know, the whole budget drama. I mean, you know, the debt ceiling drama and in terms of crypto being brought up. All this stuff, it's just noise. We've heard this noise over and over and over and over again over the last 5 years, 7 years, since crypto really became a more serious option for many people. And don't let it distract you. It's just what it is. It's just noise. Okay, stay with the tape. Trade what's right in front of you. Follow the signal. Don't get involved. You know, it's not a religion, right? It's a digital currency. Take advantage of it to be profitable, to increase your wealth, for diversification, also in terms of as a hedge against dollar inflation, of which there's plenty and more to come. And that's the way you should look at it. Okay. I hope that answers most of the questions. If not, then just shoot me one, right? Shoot me your question and I'll do my very best to answer it in the next video or just, you know, respond to it directly. Okay. That's it. Catch you guys next time. Cheers.